Everybody, happy May 10th, 2020, and also happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show, where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on today's show, we have a baseball player. We've gone outside between basketball and football, but now we have baseball. Ty Netto of Derby. Ty, thanks so much for being able to come on today.
Thank you for having me.
No problem, man. You know, I've heard a lot of good things about you from Coach Boehner, and he's told me that, hey, got to have this kid on. He's a great kid on and off the field, so you know what? Now you're on.
Awesome.
Now, Ty, before we get into your career with Derby, just talk to me about what got you into playing baseball, and was that the only sport that you played growing up?
So what got me into baseball? Well, like, all my cousins played baseball. Like, everybody was, like, around me, they all played. So, like, obviously, like, I wanted to play. All my friends played baseball. And then, but in terms of other sports, I played football from when I was 7, I think, is when you could start Pop Warner.
Mm-hmm.
I played till 12, or no, I was like 11. Played football till I was 11. And I was like, I'm good with this. And then from there, I just started playing baseball. That was all I did, pretty much.
What made you stop playing football?
I think it was more just, I knew I liked baseball more. So I was like, I want to play in the fall. I want to, keep, honestly, it was like, if I keep playing baseball, I could get better at it and I like it better. So that's really it.
Now, when you started playing baseball full time, were you just a catcher, or were you a kid that played multiple positions?
No, actually, so like when I was in Little League, I would say I started catching. Catching was like the first thing I did. Like once pitch started, or yeah, I think it was like coach pitch or like whatever, like minors. That's when I started. But I also pitched and like I played like third base and stuff like that. And then when I was like 13, moved to the big field. I was playing pretty much all the positions, like almost like every game, like just wherever you need like a guy, I guess I would be there, but still primarily catching. But then by the time I was 14, then it was pretty much just all catching. I didn't really move anywhere else. Third base here and there, but pretty much just catch.
Do you think it benefited you that you were able to play all around the diamond before you became a full-time catcher?
Yeah, because, it helps you as a catcher, like, you're pretty much the leader of the field. So, like, playing shortstop for a few games or playing left field or playing third base, it gives you good perspective on what other guys on the field need to do so you could help lead. But then, like, in terms of, like, positioning the defense, you could, like, you could help adjustments and stuff like that. Just try and give your team an advantage in the field.
And during your time with Derby, did you have a feeling that you would play every game since your freshman year at Derby? Or was it something that kind of like, it took you a while to be like, oh wait, I'm going to be playing every game?
Yeah, so going into my freshman year, like when I was in 8th grade, like I knew like, it's a small town. Like I know who like the guys on the team were. So it's like, you see the situation you're going into. It's like, all right, we have a senior catcher who was Mike Colville. He was the senior. He was the catcher since his freshman year. Like going in, like I knew there was like a chance. Like talking with like Coach Boehner, like he was like honest. He was like, Mike he was a third baseman before, but he caught because we needed him to. So like, the opportunity for you to move into the starting catching spot, and have Mike go play third base. Like Mike, he wanted to play third base, and so I guess going in, like I wanted the catching job, but I didn't know that it was going to end up like you said, I played every game. Like I didn't expect that, but I guess I worked trying to make that happen.
Usually with catchers, there's certain things that kind of they can do well right off the bat, and then there's other things that they need to work on. It could be blocking, it could be receiving, game calling. What was the easiest thing for you as a catcher where you didn't have to focus so much of your strength on trying to get better at?
I would say definitely blocking and receiving. Okay. Those were like going in. Like when I was a freshman, like those things were solid. I was called a pretty decent game, but I've had over the years, like just helping me like develop like my game plan, like what I like to do, like what my tendencies are, trying to get guys out, like working with my pitchers. But like blocking, receiving were always pretty solid for me. And then when I was younger, like I really, the biggest thing for me to work on was always throwing. Like wasn't always so strong. So like my freshman year, sophomore year, even my junior year, you know, that was a big thing, working on that, getting the pop times down, stuff like that. But that was something I always needed to work on. But the other things, you know, I do pretty well, I'd say.
Would you describe yourself as a cerebral catcher?
What do you mean by that?
As somebody who is very kind of always thinking, because now, I mean, you know, the game of baseball is all analytics, all launch angle, trying to lift the ball. So as a catcher, are you trying to help your pitchers out and try to see, okay, this guy's swing is really uphill, so if we try to attack him in certain parts of the zone, we could be successful, but then in other parts, those are no-nos.
Yeah, definitely. I think you always want to read. You try and like read a hitter, like even the way they get in the box, but like you watch their swings, like stuff like that. You could learn a lot about a guy. Like, you know, if he's casting his hands, like he's not going to hit the inside pitch. You know what I mean? Like stuff like looking to gain an advantage, help your pitcher. But I will say, I think pitching to your pitcher's strengths at times can be more important because, you know, in high school, like you only get so much about a guy, like about a hitter. You can only know so much. It's like we don't have like all picks that like pro guys would have, but like sure, if he throws a really good curveball and it's like that strengths, sometimes I feel like it's better to play to your pitcher's. But like, I mean, if a hitter has an outstanding weakness, that you gotta attack it, I'd say.
It also helps too because a lot of times kids in the NVL kind of stay at the same schools, if not, even if they transfer, they stay within the conference. So as a kid who played every single game for 4 years, you know these kids by the end of your freshman year, sometimes your sophomore year. So you as a catcher going into your junior and senior year, you know their swings. They may get bigger, but a lot of times their swings stay the same.
Yeah. Over the years, like you definitely like pick up like on like who like the good hitters are in the league and like who's really a threat, like who could really hit, like who's an example, like in Seymour it was like John Chacha, like you knew like going in, like he was like he was their guy he was their 4-hitter probably, you know, he was their guy. And then you know it's funny, so like in terms of like learning guys, Coach Riles, you know Riles, right?
Yes, I do.
Coach in Seymour, and he was actually coming back to Derby this year. He's like big. He goes and like watches all the games, and like he like so like when he came on staff, like you know the first time talking to him, he's like you know all the bats I watched are like all you guys like this is like how like telling us like the game plan of how he would like get our guys out and like here's how we wanted to pitch you, and here's how we wanted to pitch Tom behind like in front of you, and like it's like fun. We'd go and watch all the games and like. You could see, like, when you, like, learn about hitters, like, how effective they can be, like, when you have, like, a game plan going in. So I guess the more...
You can never learn enough about trying, you know, hitting in general because the game of baseball, there's always something new that you can learn every day, and that's great to have a coach like him to really kind of see the game in a different outlet because that allows you to say, okay, I see it one way, but he sees it another. Let's try to meet in the middle and then, you know, go off from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, at times, like 4 games, like I remember like sitting down with like Coach Boehner, and he'd have their lineup with all like their all the their roster with all the numbers, and he would go through and he'd point out guys, like circle names, and be like, all right, like this guy, like just giving me like information, like all right, this is a 4-hitter, like if you let's say like you leave him a fastball over the plate, like he's gonna hit it, like stuff like that, like just pointing out. Who like the guys in the lineup you need to attack, and who's like guys that all right if we not work around them, but be a little more cautious, right? You know, just, yeah, stuff like that. You know, it goes a long way. I think it's better than going in blind for sure.
Oh yeah, I can tell you as a pitcher who played both in high school and college, at least having some idea and watching some video in college was so much better than in high school when like your freshman sophomore year. Didn't really know too much about the hitters, and like you said, just went in blind and then give up 3 or 4 runs. Then you find out, oh, okay, these guys are pretty good. I wish I knew that coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but Ty, we got a couple minutes left, and I really do appreciate you coming on. You know, again, Coach Boehner gave me a lot of positive words about you. Heard a lot of great things, and it's great to have a Derby player and an Albertus Magnus player. I went to Albertus from 2011 to 2015. I played for Coach Layton It's great to have an NVL talent go to Albertus because I know that Albertus has had chances to really be a good team, and this 2020 team could be very good as well. Tell me about how you kind of found Coach Layton, I should say.
So Coach Layton, I've known Coach Layton for a while. Like, well, he's been to a bunch of our games from when I can remember, like as early as my sophomore year, things like that. But then the funny thing is, when I play fall ball, he actually umpires. So
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so I have played a bunch of games like where I'm catching, he's the home plate umpire, and like over the years of like just playing with playing games and having to be the umpire, like we had like a pretty good relationship. Like we knew each other by first name basis. Like going into games, like okay, I have this guy a bunch of times before. Like I know him pretty well. So like, and then like one game we're playing at the Sportsplex in Brantford, and like I had no idea at the time, but he was like, I'm the head coach at Albertus, and I was like, oh, I had no idea like all the time, and from there just he like reached out and he was like, like he was always asking me like, what are you doing with college? I'm like, I'm not exactly sure yet. I was considering schools, and then he reached out, and then pretty much almost right away I was like, this seems like a good fit.
And that's how Brian Layton landed Ty Netto. He knew him since a sophomore year. That's a good story, man. I mean, I forgot. He always talked about during practices that he was a coach. And even in some practices, he would go as umpire, too. If we were doing, inter-squad games and such. And I completely forgot about that. That's fantastic, man. Seriously.
It's really funny. Like, I had no idea. Like, I've had him at... there's only so many umpires, so it's like over time you start to, like, remember guys. And it's like, I had no idea. Like, my future college coach was umpiring the game I'm playing in.
Did you ever have, in the NVL, did you ever have Hector as an umpire?
Ooh, not that I recall.
He's a good umpire. I think he's retired now from what he told me because I saw him during the winter season for basketball. He would come watch Crosby play. But no, he's a good umpire. I've known him since I was like a freshman in high school.
Oh, wow.
Well, I know. I'm showing my age. But anyway, Ty, I really do appreciate you coming on, being able to have a Derby talent and also a future Albertus player come on, wish you nothing but the best of luck, and you're always welcome to come on anytime if you want.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe and enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.